Hi, everybody. Had a great question today. Wanted to share it with you all because it's such a common question. I think it's been put in different ways so many times to me. And that is, I'll read the question as it was sent. Hi, Grace. I'm on holiday at the moment and found that I can only be happy if I'm thin is a very deep-rooted core belief. I'm doing the work on it, but I got stuck. I can answer question 2 with a no. So in other words, question 1 is it true? I can only be happy if I'm thin. Question 2 is, can you absolutely know that it's true? So she said, I can answer question 2 with no, because I can imagine being thin and unhappy. I can't absolutely know it's true that I'll be happy if I'm thin. She goes on to say, but I can't imagine question 4. Who would I be without the thought? I can't imagine not thinking this thought or it not being true. Also, the turnaround. I can be happy at my current weight doesn't really feel true. There's a little truth to it, but if I would be thin, I would be happier. You see. So she asks, is there something I can do or ask if I'm stuck like that? Well, let's explore this situation, this phenomena, this experience. So many of us have had the idea. I'll be happier if I was thin. This weight is not my happiest weight. This shape, size of the body, this fitness level of the body, even the health of this body, but we'll just stay with fitness, appearance, weight, is not the happiest one that I could have. Okay, that might be everybody who's has ever experienced either an eating disorder that they're in the throes of, or shame about the body has had that experience. So even if you're in a thin place right now and you think, I'm holding on tight to this, I've achieved and I have succeeded with this incredibly low weight body, and I'm going to hold on to it for dear life. You can feel, I've talked to so many people in that position too, how stressful and painful and controlled and aggravated it is. A lot of times there's complaints about digestion and how my body doesn't really have it right and something's wrong here. Okay, but when I'm thin, I'd be happier. So this is for the person who is heavy in weight. We think, okay. Let's just use this as a meditation and move into where this inquirer is sharing. So question 1, is it true? Okay, let's just say it's yes. Such a common thought. It seems I would be happier if I was thinner. Can you absolutely know that that's true? And I love that she had found, no, you can be unhappy when you're thin. I mean, it's going to be part of human experience to notice and see and be with and have whatever we're calling unhappiness appear. Unhappiness in the form of sadness or anger, or frustration or irritation with life itself. These human emotions and experiences are almost certainly going to arise. Can even be open to welcoming them. They will happen. So, or at least we certainly don't want to brace against or determine that if they happen, there's something wrong with that or unhappy about that. I love noticing that all feelings and experiences always change. I mean, even if we just go to sleep at night, they're gone. They are fleeting and impermanent. They can't really be something about who we are here. I don't know. Anyway, so just noticing that this thing called happiness comes and goes and comes and goes in this particular manner. If we're talking about feelings, if we're talking about thoughts visiting upon us. So I'd be happier if I was thin. What happens when you think it? So even though you've determined that it might not be absolutely true, what happens when you think, oh, no, 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 I would be happier if I was thin? I mean, just notice where the attention moves to thinness. It has to have in this duality that this other state called thinness is so much better, and I'm going to do everything I can to get there. And this present moment right now, where this is the body that has this particular weight right now in this moment, is an unhappy one. If you even close your eyes for a moment and meditate on it, you can feel where the mind travels and is able to even make contact with what is not even aware of the body. There's just a mysterious, unknown kind of vast space within. You are the body that you're in. Is it true? And I know we get really, really identified with it. It really seems like it is, you know, I seem to be the person who's called Grace ever since I can remember. I wasn't aware of that when I was born, kind of had no name. There was no consciousness about that, but other people were calling me that. And I got used to it. And then I looked a certain way. And yes, the body has changed significantly, looking in the mirror from age 4 or 5 to now. And I have memories of gazing from inside that body that I can remember vividly and hold on right now. The same looker is here. The one who's looking out from inside of the body is present, even though the body is completely different. So noticing that, if you've ever lost weight on a diet, if you've ever gained weight, noticing the ups and downs. Many of you have gained and lost many times. Some haven't. It's okay, whatever your experience is, but notice that there's something in here that's looking out from inside the body, it feels like, that is the same, whether you've gained or lost, no matter what the bodies look like, what state or condition the body's been in. Who would you be without the thought, I can only be happy if I'm thin? What's your evidence? What's your proof? I mean, I can find there's been so much happiness. There's been these happy moments, or there's been, I'm not even sure exactly how to define happiness. What are we talking about here? Is it just rest and peace? All those hours of sleeping that we've ever done in our lives where really thought is stopped. Something is completely dropped down below alert consciousness. Something is still alive and present. It's just fully rejuvenating and resting. Even if you think you don't sleep well, you do sleep. So that's a form of happiness. We do love sleeping. We feel really good if we sleep. But what are we talking about happiness? Is it excitement and joy and freedom? Feeling like we can just move and walk down the beach wearing a bathing suit without feeling shame? Does that come from having the body the right way, or does it come from something that can look out from the inside? Have you ever noticed that even if you're heavy, or even if you're sick, or even if something's damaged in your body, or even if something's imperfect about the body, you can still love something, love a person, or be intrigued by something over here, or watch a fascinating movie, or just notice how drawn you are to something in a joyful way? What is happiness here? What is this happiness we're talking about that's absent unless we get thin? So noticing, I love this inquirer said, I'm on holiday at the moment. So my guess is, in some ways, there's a less tasks and schedule and work and sometimes busyness, and sometimes the way our lives get filled with all the day-to-day activities that we tend to do. And some of us fill ourselves with lots of busyness and lots of events and lots of tasks. So we're a little bit nervous about that slowed down place. There's always sort of a slight, movement of speed and what's next, what's next, what's next? Okay, what's next? You're not alone if you've had that. That's very normal, very human. It seems to be part of kind of a condition of humanity, of the mind. Like, let's go, let's go, let's go. What's next? What's next? So, being with that, noticing, aware, letting that be there. Who would I be without my story? Who would I really be without my story? Is there anything that you feel nervous about in the moment? Accepting the body the way this is. Wow, if I don't feel against this body, if I'm not against this weight, I'm thinking I really need to get thin and lose weight. If I let go of that problem, if I don't pay attention to that problem and think of that problem every minute, I'll never lose weight. I'll never get to that place that's of interest to me. Yeah, that balanced body. Are you sure that's true? If you don't look at this and hold it kind of with aggression and determination or some kind of level of stress, demand, who would you be without the thought, what if it was okay to not have this thought? I can only be happy if I'm thin. I love just simply noticing the evidence of happiness presenting itself in our lives, no matter what the state of the body. We can be laying in a hospital bed coming off of an accident where things seem to be massively changed because of a broken bone or some kind of ailment, physical difficulty. And somebody walks into the room who we haven't seen in a long time. And we're like, wow, it's amazing. Hello. You can notice contact and connection. Does love live inside the weight of your body? Does curiosity depend on the weight of your body? What is happiness? Does rest depend on the weight of your body? Relaxation? Does pleasure depend on the weight of your body? I can't find it. Does anger, sadness, heartbreak, feeling rejected, feeling confused, abandonment, all the difficulties of human experience, do those rise no matter what the weight of your body? Sure. Yes, they do. So could it be just as possible that all these things, these definitions of happiness, these experiences of happiness, whether it's peace, contentment, calm, steadiness, joy, excitement, love, connection, whatever happiness really is for you. Notice it's got different nuances and can be defined differently depending on just how you feel in the moment or what it is that's occurring to you. But these qualities, contentment, how could they depend on the physical body? That's who you are without that story, without that thought. Even if you notice in the great, strange, duality of it all, that thinness feels desirable, thinness feels balanced, thinness or weight loss feels like, a natural path somehow, like a peaceful avenue. You can trust that will happen, that that's on its way, that that's happening right now in this moment. We don't even have to wait. Peace as the leader, the leader of the intention here. That can be happening right now. Sure, the weight cannot change to 30 pounds less right now, 10 pounds less, 50 pounds less. Of course not. It seems like nature has its own course that the mind is certainly not in charge of. The mind always wants everything to go really fast, or else it wants things to stay still and not move at all. Hold on and grasp, tight. But the mind is not in charge of just the natural unfolding of anything. What I can do right now in this moment is be aware of the peace that's accessible right here, right now. The happiness that is available to me in this moment by resting. And if something stirred things up, something triggered me, being on holiday, being aware, passing by a mirror, trying on clothing, actively, being in the presentation of seeing clearly the body or being with the body shape and image. That can often, just noticing that all those images and the story comes alive and kind of gets fired up. Can I look and see that that's just images and then the mind having judgment about the images? Who would I be if I didn't believe my thinking? And it's all right that I'm looking and seeing, I really would like to be thinner. I'm on my way to balanced weight. I'm here to understand what this like compulsion and grasping and grabbing and numbing wants. I'm here to see how it fits into my perspective and how I'm working with life. Isn't that one of my greatest desires, to make peace with something about life itself? I can only be happy if I have thin thinking. My thinking needs to be weeded out and thinned down and relaxed and rested. My thoughts about the body, especially, need to be thinned, narrowed, relaxed. I think of like a vibrating wire. If it's just really heavy and strong and you pluck a guitar string, a deep bass one, and I need to make that a smaller, more rested, maybe even coming down to stillness with my thinking. Even if my thinking is actually busy, can I look with the one who is observing, who's seeing, the looker itself, the observer that is inside of me, the one that is looked out of those eyes, even though the eyes at one time were 5 years old, even though the eyes at one time were 20 years old, and even though the eyes are the age that they are now. What's looking out of those eyes that has been here the whole time? So body changes and shifts, but something is open, alive, aware, just humming along, active, free, unconditionally accepting of the one you are. And do you think it's more likely, if you're open, unconditionally accepting, even excited about this moment that you've landed in right now? Do you think it's more likely the body will move towards balance if you're open like that, willing, just in the don't know mind, or if you're aggressive, at war with the body, hating the body, finding the body ugly, demanding that the body lose weight, frustrated with the body, condemning the body? I mean, it's a good question because the second part, condemnation, hatred, attack, aggression, they do produce change. We can see it in war. They also produce an enormous amount of suffering, do they not? And the outcome is never guaranteed. And it seems like there's a lot of losing, a lot of destruction and pain. It's okay that this approach is there. It's just where the mind goes when it's terribly frightened. I mean, I've had same kinds of thoughts, human thoughts run through. That needs to go away. That needs to be eliminated. That needs to be shut down. Feelings coming up. If we just let them be there and notice, what is happiness? In this question itself, there's a great other question behind the question. What is this happiness that I think is missing? Unless thinness occurs. Conditional happiness. Who would I be without the thought that happiness depends on certain conditions being right? And it's totally okay to notice that we love the conditions to be within a certain temperature. We love the conditions to be enough water, enough fuel, enough food, enough energy, enough sleep, the basic survival conditions for the body. We like if the conditions feel safe. That seems to bring happiness. It's okay to be noticing all that, letting that all be there. We're not wishing for something otherwise. That's wonderful to have a mind and kind of a sensor that's aware of the temperature of the room. Who would you be without the story? Where you are here now in this moment, it's not possible to be happy because of everything that's going on in reality, because of the body and its shape and size. What if I become a student of happiness and peace rather than weight loss? What if I could just be interested in seeing what the mind is talking about when it gets so outraged about the situation, and actually not even listening or believing that? What if I become more interested in, so where's the peace in this? Where is the peace in this? Instead of just being so sure that it's proven that there is no peace in this. Can I take a moment and see, no matter what my weight is, I can see trees outside my window, just beyond the top of my computer screen here, and a big, wide open gray sky. And I can see a lamp beautifully lit standing over in the corner of the room, and a white rug on the floor. I can feel where my legs meet the chair. I can feel cool air on my bare feet. I can feel the love for the people in my lives, even if they aren't in this room. So just the very thought of the people. Appreciation, connection, contact. I can find appreciation for this body being here with me like a steady companion every minute of every hour, never leaving me the way the mind has seemed to turn on me. Body always willing, always present, always able, always in service, always taking in the food that's been given to it and immediately going to work on it without judgment. Who would I be without my story? So just willing to find that drop, that arena, that area that can look without my thoughts, and still noticing it's okay to hold an interest in thinness. Like, yeah, I'm also really curious and wondering what's happened here, that the body is full and heavy, and you know, what's this dynamic of belief and thought, and how do I work with my thinking and my feelings throughout my day as it flows, in and out, noticing the flow in and out of food and how I'm working with food. Can I be happy as I eat food and happy as I stop at the end of the meal? Can I be curious about happiness in between eating and happiness when eating? Can I just not believe all the talking that the mind is doing about what's right and wrong? I find that's the way the body is going to wind up balancing out in the present moment, allowing food and eating and the feelings in the body and the appearance of the body, which is just shifting, ever so shifting and changing constantly. I mean, we just see a brief image in the mirror or the window and we'll make a judgment, but we don't even really know if it's true the way it looks. Somebody else might see us completely differently than we see us. So really feeling and being with that turnaround. I will be happy, can only be happy if I have thin thinking. How much more important that is, at least I can find that, than the thin body, and how that's going to lead the way to a thin body. The body is just reflecting what my stories have been about life and the body and food. So can I relax and bring happiness instead of all the horrors and self-criticism and complaints about life and about myself and about what's happened? Can I relax on my complaints and my feeling of self-pity and also self-aggression? So turn around just simply to the opposite. I can only be happy right now in the moment. I like that turnaround. So original thought, I can only be happy if something happens that isn't here. That I don't even know where it is. It's somewhere in the empty future. I can only be happy right now. People have this about so many things, not just getting a thin body. I can only be happy if I get that much money. I can only be happy if I find a mate or a spouse or a lover. I can only be happy if I get the right house. I can only be happy if I have a new job. So notice that it's talking about being happy with something that is just somewhere in the nothingness of the future. Turn that around. I can only be happy right here, in this space, in this moment, in this emptiness, in unconditional friendliness to this moment, unconditional acceptance. The body has been unconditionally accepting. I mean, I know it's had it's felt pain, it's felt difficulty, it's felt aversion, it's done what it's doing, but it's just giving signals and continuing to work with it. It hasn't abandoned you. So who would you be without your story? What would it be like to be willing to open to a pathway into happiness here, now, in this moment? Doesn't mean we have to get rid of, I think my body's ugly. But that doesn't have to be the headline of the entire moment and the movie that we tend to watch, and it's like we're staring at the ugliness of the body and how heavy it is. So just allowing that to be there, like clouds in the sky, like a stormy weather is passing. I can only be happy if it's sunny out. Not true. It isn't true, is it? I can be happy, and I do like noticing, as many meditation teachers and those say, using this beautiful metaphor, even if it's raining, the sun is actually out. The sun is burning always. I'm just not seeing it at the moment because the sky is full of clouds and it's pouring down rain. Raining, my body is ugly and fat with those kinds of thoughts. It doesn't mean something isn't just burning bright in our nature, solid, steady, always there. So hopefully that will help with how to begin to work with this thought that it's been so old and so persistent that there is only freedom and peace and love and contentment if the body is the right size body. Not true. And I can see that if I'm triggered and nervous and worried and the eating behavior is disrupted, well, I can continue with this inquiry. Wow, what am I willing, what's been willing in me, or feeling like there's no other option in me but to be at war instead of at peace? So can I just touch the place with compassion, this experience with compassion, this wanting and wishing and hoping? So allowing the interest in a balanced body to be here, beautiful. Can totally begin now, moving towards that immediately. So that's okay. And also allowing the thoughts that are really aggressive and horrible to be there. They're fleeting. They will stop. They will fade out. They'll dissolve, especially if we don't give them lots of attention. So it's relaxing in the don't know mind. Relaxing. That is where I found happiness. All right. Let me know how it goes.